It's been 6 months since I got a Urtopia Carbon 1 e-bike, the world's first e-bike integrated with ChatGPT. Are you kidding me? On their blog, the company states with the power of ChatGPT, the e-bike delivers real-time assistance based on users' needs. The bicycle with a mind makes every journey full of surprises and joy. What? There's nothing in there concrete about how it improves the user experience, for example. It just comes across like such a marketing gimmick designed to get stupid clickbait headlines, which is such a shame because there's actually a lot to like about this e-bike. It is one of the most technologically advanced bikes I've ever encountered. It has 4G LTE and GPS integrated into it so you can geolocate it if it gets stolen, and the battery is locked into the bike with a key, making it hard for thieves to try to remove the battery to stop the geo-tracking if they even know that's a feature of the bike at all. You can connect to the bike via the Urtopia app on your smartphone, and once you do, you get quite a few controls for the bike. You can control its integrated lights, which are actually pretty bright, and they'll automatically turn on depending on the time of day. You can put the bike into alarm mode, adjust its volume for the integrated speaker, the vibration, which can activate in situations like one safety feature when the bike senses a fast approaching vehicle coming up from your rear. You can play music on the integrated Bluetooth speaker, do firmware updates, and of course, set up the fingerprint sensor, which is also part of the bike's outstanding security feature suite. With alarm mode on, if someone tries to roll off with your bike, the bike will blare an alarm constantly, and it can only be turned off via the app or by authenticating into the bike with your fingerprint. Though I have accidentally bumped my bike a few times in the garage and set off the alarm, and yeah, that could be kind of a hassle to then go in and make sure you authenticate in to shut the alarm off, but I'd rather have that alarm still than not have it. Setting up the bike was incredibly straightforward. Urtopia has videos you can watch that go through each step of the process, as well as if you purchase accessories for your Carbon 1 like I did. I bought both a kickstand and a drink holder, but a kickstand really should have come with this bike by default given its price. The bike's design is also just beautiful. It's made out of carbon fiber, hence its name, and that drastically reduces its weight. It only weighs 33 pounds. It has a Gates carbon belt. I haven't had to do any maintenance on this bike except for inflating the tires to the proper limit over the past 6 months, and overall it's been great. And it has this sleek, futuristic look to it with very few wires, and the control bar is quite sleek looking. It'll display a variety of icons for different things like the motor settings, when you lock the e-bike, the turn signals which are on the rear of the bike and actually project down onto the pavement for night riding, which is very cool. Having your speed on that display in a really prominent position is actually really helpful regardless of if you're riding on a city road or on a bike path. With a normal bike, I'd have no idea how much faster than the speed limit I was actually going on a given bike trail. And a voice control icon which works, but is still a bit gimmicky in my opinion. Maybe that's what the ChatGPT thing is for, I don't know. In terms of how the bike rides, it rides pretty well. There are 3 modes of intensity and then a rocket mode that really kicks the motor into high gear. Having a bike with a motor and battery certainly has its benefits. I find you can bike much farther with an e-bike than with a regular bike, and the rated range for the Urtopia Carbon 1 is anywhere from 25 to 60 miles depending on what mode you have the bike in. But there's no different belts for different speeds like some bikes have that you might be used to. With the electric motor going up hills, I haven't really missed having like a 10-speed or 7-speed bike. The motor for me has been able to do hills very well. The app will record your bike rides, and there are now integrations with both Strava and Apple Health, and you can actually sync your heartbeat from your Apple Watch to the bike directly during your workout. I did have some issues originally with the seat not staying put with the adjustment that I made, but Urtopia sent me out another locking mechanism that seemed to fix that, and I like that the bike has a quick release for the front wheel, making it easy to throw into one of my cars to take the bike somewhere. And that actually leads me to one of my personal downsides with this e-bike, all bikes and e-bikes, is just where I live here in North Carolina. I don't have very good biking infrastructure that is safe. Like, I live near grocery stores, shops, things like that, but to get to good, safe bike paths, I have to drive, throw my bike in the car to get to those. If I try to get to some of those destinations I now currently have to drive to, I'd have to share the road with motor vehicle traffic, and even though this bike has some great safety features, I still don't want to die. Also, because of the tires on this bike, it's made for pavement, so it's not really meant for gravel trails like the one I have in a nearby forest. Because I have to drive the bike somewhere in order to ride it, it kind of defeats the purpose of being able to use this e-bike to replace car trips. And I found that at the start of the review period, I rode it quite a bit. And then as the review period went on, I've ridden it less and less because it's just a hassle to throw into a car to go drive somewhere. And, with the weather here, there's pollen, it gets hot. Didn't end up using it as much as I thought I would. So having somewhere to ride it has been the biggest downside for me, but that's not going to apply to everyone. There are other downsides though that I've encountered with the Carbon 1 that will apply to everyone who rides it. One, there's no suspension, so you're definitely going to feel the bumps in the road. The bar itself is not height adjustable. And lastly, there's the battery. Urtopia uses batteries made by Samsung, and everything with the battery module appears to be high quality, and I mean it better given that this bike costs like $2,000 US. Now, when I first got the e-bike from Urtopia, I asked them if it had UL certification. The company has sent me their UL certification for both the e-bike as well as the battery module, and you can see that they're up on the UL site as well, which is a good sign. Why the company doesn't actually market the battery modules or the bike as UL certified on their website though, that's a bit more concerning and something I think they should definitely do to alleviate any concerns here in the US that this bike is unsafe. E-bike battery fires have become a pretty big story here in the United States. There have been a string of them in certain cities like New York City, for example, that have happened over the past year, and that's caused some concern around this category of devices. And when you go to authorities and local governments, the advice you typically get is to only buy e-bikes that have been UL certified. So the entire bike, or at least that battery pack and charger. But even if you damage the battery, you submerge it, it gets impaled, you charge it incorrectly or don't follow the manufacturer's guidelines for battery storage and charging, all of those can still lead to battery failure and or thermal runaway. Urtopia does list the operating temperatures for their batteries, and because the batteries themselves are pretty expensive at almost $500 US, that should at least somewhat indicate their quality. So for me, even with the UL certification, I'm very cautious about charging e-bike batteries. Making sure I'm always around when the battery is charging, I monitor the charger and battery for any deformation in shape or any odd smells coming from it, and I never charge the battery near an exit in case of fire, and never overnight. All of these steps can be a bit of a hassle, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. So recommendation time. Do I recommend the Urtopia Carbon 1 e-bike? Yes. But only for those who I really think will benefit from the lightness of the carbon fiber design and the high-tech features, which do actually work well. I thought they were going to be kind of gimmicky when I first got this bike, but overall, over the past 6 months, I'm actually pretty impressed with them. Now, if you just want an e-bike and you care more about the ride quality and just the motor assist, but you don't need all the technology, the Carbon 1 probably is not going to be the bike for you. You're going to be better off shopping around a bit, and you'll likely find a bike that costs a little bit less. Though Urtopia does often have this bike on sales, and if you have any further questions about the Carbon 1, leave those in the comments below. I'll try to answer as many questions there as I can, or if you have experience with e-bikes or this e-bike, let me know what you think of them in the comments as well. And if you like this video, you found it helpful, consider giving it a thumbs up. It really helps out the channel. And for any other updates I have on the Urtopia Carbon 1, I'll make sure to leave those in our free monthly newsletter, which you can get to by clicking the link in the description below. For 6 months later, I'm Josh Tedder. Thanks for watching.